What's going on, guys? So, the topic for this week's leadership article is the power of persuasion. The main reason I chose this topic this week is because I was listening to an interview with David Rubenstein at the Wharton School of Business. David Rubenstein is the founder of the Carlyle Group, which is an investing firm, and they, handle billions of dollars, and he's usually got a lot of good things to say. During the interview, David Rubenstein was asked, how can you build a good culture for a business? And he talked about a few different things, but persuasion was one of the topics he covered. He said there are three ways you can persuade people. And in order to build a good culture as a leader, you need to be able to do these three things well. One way he said you can persuade people is to write effectively. I'll be honest, writing was probably one of my toughest things growing up. I wasn't very good at it, and I think I've improved over time, but still got a long way to go before I feel, very comfortable with my writing skills. And the reason why I've had to improve is because running a business, you have to write a lot of emails to people, and if you don't sound eloquent and you have a bunch of run-on sentences, or you just don't sound very intelligent, people aren't going to take you seriously, in all honesty. And yeah, you want to be able to write a mission or vision statement and convey your message about who you are or what your business is trying to do. And sometimes you don't get to do that in person. Sometimes the only thing you can do is through words on a screen or on a piece of paper. So writing effectively is very important. The second form of persuasion that he talked about was learning to talk. This is another area that I feel like I've spent countless hours on to improve, just because I know that when you have to stand up in front of people and you have to speak, you want to sound eloquent and you don't want to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. So, um, don't say have some pauses, and don't feel like you always have to feel the air. David Rubenstein does a really good job of answering the questions during the interview, and anytime I've heard him speak, he does an incredible job of keeping things light and humorous, but also talking to the points that are being asked. And I think that helps tremendously, is not to take yourself too seriously while you are trying to convey your message, and it'll make you relax a little more. Like right now, I'm relaxing, or trying to, while I'm doing this video, so that you guys don't feel like I'm a robot. But yeah, you have to get the reps in. I know when I started out as like a second lieutenant or first lieutenant, giving a lot of briefings, I was scared to death, and my heart was felt like it's beating out of its chest. And even now, when I do a presentation, I still get nervous, but it doesn't feel as nervous as I did when I first started out, because I've done a lot of practice. So speaking is very, very important. Words matter. What you say matters. And people usually, when they're listening to you talk about something important, are hanging on every word. So if you say something that is, negative, or something that offends people, then people are going to remember that. So that's something that I've tried to work on, and I'm still improving, and I still want to get better. I want people to, when they listen to this, think, oh wow, like he's not a complete idiot all the time. So that's it. Speaking is the second one that he talks about, and the next one is leading by example. So Mr. Rubenstein says that leading by example is the most effective persuasive tactic that you can use to build the culture you want for your organization. And he uses the example of George Washington staying with his troops during battle, as opposed to going and staying in a hotel somewhere not on the battlefield. And that's just, it's a great example, just because someone who is leading the entire army to, win a war, if they're willing to stay with their troops when things are really crappy circumstances, and they're not going to just go stay in a lavish, hotel, that's leading by example. That's showing that you care enough, because you know how important this is. So someone who shows up early to the office, and doesn't show up at lunch when everybody else is showing up early. Somebody who stays late, and you don't always have to do that stuff. It's not saying like, hey, you have to be the first one in, last one out, but it's like when or like even just coming to like a lunch or something and hanging out with the team. Little things like that are leading by example, showing that you care. And it's not. It doesn't have to be anything that's crazy. It's just like doing the small things with your organization to show that, hey, I'm a part of you guys, and I do the things that I need to do so that our organization is successful. So leading by example, that's one thing that I've tried to do my entire life. I've never been really good at writing or speaking, but leading by example is definitely something that I've tried to do, but has not always been beneficial for me because I didn't do the other two well. So even if you are leading by example, if you don't convey your message either verbally or in written form, people can misconstrue whatever you're doing as negative. But you have to be able to lead by example in order to build the trust among your organization. Those are the three ways you can persuade people to build the culture you want in your organization. Mr. Rubenstein says that all life is about is persuading people. So whether it's your sibling, your spouse, your partner, your business colleague, or your child, you're going to have to try to persuade these people to get them to do what you want sometimes. So you need to be able to write, speak, and lead by example. And if you can do all three of those very well, it's probably going to be in your best interest. So that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I highly recommend going to watch that full interview with David Rubenstein at the Wharton School. It's got a lot of good gems in there, and that's all I got. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys, and yeah, look forward to next week's email. Thanks, guys.